Hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about my first impressions on Stranger of Paradise. To begin with, I'm just going to be frank. Alright now, I'm frank. This game is not necessarily a pretty game. At times, when the resolution kind of goes wonky, it kind of feels like you got Vaseline on your screen. And I'm playing on Xbox Series X. I heard there's some issues, same issues with PlayStation 5 and PC port as well. And to be honest, if the game just had like anti-aliasing, it would look a lot better. And because of that, on Xbox, if you're playing on Xbox Series X, I don't know about S, but Xbox Series X and PS5, I've found that you might as well just go ahead and pick graphics mode and prioritize that over performance, because you're not going to see a difference in performance. And even on performance mode, it can get kind of spotty depending on how much is going on the screen at once. And the little thing where you press B to do like the cool kill on the enemies, those apparently the effect that, you know, they break into a bunch of red crystals is just broken. So it's always going to have like the weird frames sometimes. But that's enough about the graphics and the performance. Let's talk about the combat. It's essentially a dungeon crawling action RPG where you play as Jack Garland, with an emphasis on the action. The combat can be a little overwhelming, especially at first. I know I was playing it not in my right mind, and I was getting bodied. So I don't recommend doing that, because there is a lot of stuff going on the screen. Like for instance, you got your you know, to hit, and then you got your magic, and then you got your combos with your magic, and then you essentially have to like keep, you know, see what the opponents, your enemies, are doing to judge whether or not you need to dodge, block, or you can do something called a soul shield, which is essentially parrying. And when you parry something, you build up your MP gauge, and that's to make it go even further beyond. But that's very important because it plays into doing combos. You need to have MP to do certain combos, cast spells, stuff like that. And it increases how many times you can do it, because you're getting more of a bar. And you replenish your MP by just hitting and landing attacks. Also, with the soul shield, it's not just parrying. If someone throws a spell at you, say fire or death's lament, you can parry it, and then you get to cast it for free. And I think it's like up to 3 times. You know, and it also changes every time you parry. Say you parry a Death's Lament, and then you parry a fire right after it, you're going to be able to cast fire and not Death's Lament. And you also have to be careful, because parrying and blocking and getting hit takes away your stamina. And if your stamina goes all the way down, you're basically open for a few free hits by random enemies. And now, the job system. Honestly, the job system's probably the best thing about this game. You start out with just a few, but you know, as you progress, you unlock them. You also can go down certain paths on your job tree to basically get your advanced jobs. Like for instance, you got Void Knight, Dark Knight, Red Mage. And as you level up your jobs, you get points. And those points, like I said, you go through the tree to try and get to your more advanced classes. But you also buff the job in general, and you get certain combos and spells as you go down the tree. So it's honestly really nice. Like, it's very in-depth. I love it. Now for the story and the dialogue. And let me just say, depending on who you ask, they might say the dialogue or the story is ass. I love it. It is if you love cheesy dialogue options, Or not options, you don't get an option. But if you just love cheesy dialogue like this.
俺たちはいつになったらカオスと戦えるんだ。
カオスだけにな。
クリスタルはどこにある？
海賊の城だ。
孫の長官はどこだ？
ダークエルフとは。
俺たちはクリスタルのありかを知りたい。それだけだ。
The game is chock full of it. Jack Garland responding to just random people is one of the best things ever. I love it. Everything about this, pretty much like the story is like trying to be serious. And then you got a character, you got Jack Garland. He's just in there, no BS. He's like, I'm here to kill chaos. I know chaos exists because I'm going to kill him. I love it. It is so cheesy. It is great. It's fantastic. So if you love that aspect, you are going to love this game. But it's pretty much everything going on screen and combat, the dialogue, it's just chaotic, which is what you're set out to kill. The game that I can like most compare it to, I've never actually played Neo, so I can't really speak to it, but I've heard that it plays a lot like Neo. Another game I would kind of put it under, like kind of towards, is like Bayonetta. There's a lot of, it reminds me heavily of Bayonetta. So, you know, it's very actiony. I love it. So pretty much if they just put like the final polishing pieces on it, it would be a gem, like of a game. However, it does not have that polish. So it is a dirty gem. And it is because of that, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for my first impression. Unless they change the whole thing with the anti-aliasing and make it like not stupid to look at times, I would give it a higher score. I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's honestly a great game, but it's just those few things. And it's because the game was heavily underfunded. And it's honestly sad because that means they had no faith in the game, but the game is still great. I think it's funny that the user reviews like Stranger of Paradise more than they do Elden Ring, so I just find that funny. So if they patch the game, it's going to be a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. But as of right now, it's 7. It's a great game with some issues. So if you've made it this far in the video, consider subscribing. Consider liking the video. Comment what you think about Stranger of Paradise. What you think might happen with it. Do you want to see more games like Stranger of Paradise? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. Or you can go to our Facebook page, which is in the description, in a link that you need to click on. So there's all sorts of different stuff you can help us to keep making this glorious content. So with that, goodbye.
What the hell is going on?